Look at how this watch is swinging back and forth. No, I'm not trying to hypnotize you into being a Thomist. Rather, I want you to consider, what is causing the motion of the watch? Stick around to see why the answer to this question matters. Hello, my name is Father Ambrose Little, and welcome to Aquinas 101, Big Questions, Little Answers, the series where I do my best to answer your big questions about philosophy, theology, and more. Today's episode is a 2-sunburst video, and I will answer a question that appeared in the comments of our Aquinas 101 video, Has the Universe Always Existed? You can find a link to that video in the description below. Our viewer asked, wait, I thought Aristotle argued for the exact opposite of the eternity of the world. My understanding is that Aristotle believed there could not be an infinite chain of causes, so there needed to be an uncaused causer or prime mover that set everything into motion. The little answer to this question is straightforward. Aristotle did indeed argue for the eternity of the world, if what we mean by eternity is that there is no beginning or end to motion and time. In his Physics, Book 8, Chapter 1, Aristotle gives a series of arguments for the eternity of motion and time, and therefore the eternity of the world. He concludes this chapter by saying that, quote, there never was a time when motion did not exist, nor will there be a time when motion will not exist, end quote. So Aristotle did think that the world is eternal. There you go. However, reflecting further on this big question is helpful because it highlights a common misconception about Aristotle's prime mover argument and St. Thomas's famous 5 ways. When we hear that Aristotle and St. Thomas argued that there must be a first mover, we might think that this argument proves that there is a beginning of time. However, that is not a necessary conclusion of the prime mover argument. Why is that? In short, it's because a cause sometimes has to coexist with its effects. Consider this pocket watch and the fact that it is moving back and forth. It does not move all on its own, but must be moved by another. What is the immediate cause of its motion? This clasp at the end of the chain. But this clasp is not the cause of this motion all on its own. It is moved by another, namely, this link in the chain. Now, this chain of causes cannot go on forever because the motion of each link depends on the motion of the previous link. In fact, the links form a causal chain that transfers motion to the pocket watch. We call this type of causal chain an essentially ordered causal series because the existence of the effect requires the direct and constant activity of the cause for the effect to exist at all. There are other types of causal series called accidentally ordered causal series, which we'll return to in a moment. But coming back to our pocket watch, as we've said, the links form a causal chain that transfers motion to the pocket watch. However, if there's going to be motion in any part of the chain, there must be some first cause of that motion that makes the whole chain move and that needs no other explanation for its motion. For the purposes of this demonstration, we can say that in this case, the first cause of the motion in the watch is my hand. And if I stop moving it, the whole watch stops moving. This type of direct and immediate cause is what the prime mover argument of Aristotle and Aquinas proves. However, it's important to note that while Aristotle's prime mover argument proves that there must be a first cause of the universe, that does not mean that there has to be a first moment in time. All this means is that God causes the world to exist at every moment in a direct and immediate way. Technically, God could have been doing this eternally in the past and continue to do so for an eternity in the future. How can we begin to address the question of the universe having a beginning in time? This is where we need to define accidentally ordered causal series. Unlike effects in an essentially ordered causal series, Effects in an accidentally ordered causal series do not need the direct and constant activity of the cause in order to exist. They can continue to exist once the agent cause has gone on to do other stuff. The important thing to note is that a beginning in time is part of an accidentally ordered series of causes because we continue to exist long after the first moment of time has become the past. There is more that can be said, but we'll leave that for another time. So to sum up, in terms of the prime mover argument, all we prove is that there must be a first cause. The actual proof for a beginning of time must come from another argument or from revelation. And that is another big question for another episode. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Big Questions, Little Answers. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, may God bless you and keep you in His grace. I hope that answers all your questions, but if not, please let us know by submitting your big questions using Ask a Friar in the YouTube comments and on social media. And don't forget to like and share with your friends, because it matters what you think.